What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm going to be covering a tournament I'm playing here at Chess Zone on February 15th, 2025, called the February Action Championship. Chess Zone does this every month. They have this tournament with 4 games, each G60 plus 5, and when I am available, I usually go to these tournaments because it's a lot of fun, and, I have the opportunity to play with a lot of people that are strong, and potentially boost my rating. So it's usually a fun experience for me. And when I got paired at this tournament, I was paired against an individual named Kabilesh Yuvaraj, who is, as you can see, 2009, and the number 1 seed in this tournament. So the way this works is that I was right in the middle of the ratings. So I was kind of in a situation where I had to play Kabilesh because he was the top-rated person in his half of the section, and I was, I guess, the top-rated in my half of the section. So what a coincidence. I get to play the number 1 seed first round and with the black pieces. And a little bit of background, I played Kabilesh before, and I got demolished. So going into this, I knew this would be a rough game, not easy. So you're just gonna have to watch to see how I play this game. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. So Kabilesh starts the game with e4. I reply with e5, and he plays the Vienna game, knight c3. And looking at this, I'm like, oh, he's playing the Vienna game. I'm not really that comfortable with the Vienna, to be honest. I don't know as many lines. I'm much more comfortable with knight f3. So knight c3, I knew the opening would be a bit weird for me. I was sort of, feeling in the dark what I would need to do. But I somehow ended up playing good moves. Knight c6. And here he plays this move g3, which looks kind of unusual because the bishop already has a path to get out, but he's kettling it for behind the pawn for some reason. But okay, I digress. It's still a fine move. He plays the move. I played the move knight f6, just developing my piece. He plays bishop g2. I played bishop e4. I'm not really sure what the theory is here. I just played a natural-looking move. He played knight g to e2, and we both castle here. And we're both doing this pretty quickly, each spending only about a minute or two on time. And here I played the move d6 to try to open the path for my light-squared bishop to get out. And he played a3, and I decide for a minute or two what to do, either to trade on c3 or retreat. I end up retreating to c5. And here he played the move knight a4, which I was expecting, and I just slid my bishop back to b6. Apparently not the best square, but it looked fine to me. And already, because of the Vienna game, white already has a small advantage building up, as you can see by the evaluation bar. And this just shows that I'm not comfortable with this theory, and white has the opportunity to slowly build their advantage. But anyway, after bishop b6, he plays d3, the best move, and I reply with bishop e6, developing toward the center. And here he plays the move h3, which, okay, I don't really get the move. It's not like bishop g4 is... I guess he was scared of bishop g4 for some reason, but thing with... you're going to later see that h3 pawn is going to be kind of weak. So I played the move d5 to try to fight in the center. This was one of the only moves that I could play to not be much worse out of the opening. So d5, I combat the center, I challenge the center pawn, and here Kabilesh decides to trade the knight for the bishop, and then play the move knight c3. And here he had 47 minutes, and I had 42 minutes. One thing, I was considering what to do. I was considering to either just leave the pawn b, and maybe move my queen up, and then bring the rooks, to push the pawn forward to attack the knight, or to trade in the center. So I was thinking about pushing the knight back, but then after the knight moves, as you can see by the arrows, I was kind of worried that white would, start a pawn storm on the king side, push their f-pawn, maybe g-pawn, try to open the rook or something. I don't know, I'm not really a fan of closed positions, so I didn't go for this line, and it's a good thing I didn't. Alternatively, I can't really go here either, because if he takes... Oh, sorry, there was another line I wanted to show. I don't know, there's some line earlier where my bishop could get trapped if... Oh, but that was if the bishop was still on a5, but I guess that idea doesn't work anymore. Sorry, so I got off track here. Anyway, knight c3. I decide to take on e4, which is the best move. He plays knight takes e4, and then I decide to trade knights, and he plays bishop takes e4, and I almost played bishop takes h3 here, which isn't a bad move, but after queen h5 here, you're lucky you have the move f5, because if white is threatening mate on h7 and forking your bishop. So the only way to not lose a material is to play f5 here, and if white decides to take your knight, thinking they're winning material, you have this move bishop g4, you attack the queen with tempo, and then once the queen saves itself, you would take on c6, and this is roughly equal. So I guess I could have went into this line, but anyway, bishop takes e4, I play queen d7, and now you can see the problem with h3. The pawn is not defended at all, and I already have two attackers. So if white, let's say, tries to bring the bishop back, thinking they're defending the pawn, remember I have two attackers and white only has one defender, so that pawn is extra weak. So he decides to play h4, and as you can see, his light squares are becoming increasingly weak, and that's going to prove to be fatal later in the game. So anyway, after h4, I play f5, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to have my own pawn storm. I'm going to play f5, f4, and open the king. And I actually was really liking my position here. So the engine's kind of weird. It just says, hey, get rid of your light squared bishop defending your king. I don't think anyone would play this, to be honest. So anyway, after f5, logically moves the bishop to g2 to try to defend the king. And I just play f4. I'm like, look, we're going to invade your king, man. I'm going to try to open lines to your king side if you're not careful. So f4, he plays the move bishop to e4. And he had 38 minutes, and I have 45 minutes. And I was thinking about a lot of moves here, centralizing the knight with knight d4, attacking the rook with bishop h3, maybe, I don't know, playing a move like, I don't know, bringing the rook to the center, but I don't really think that does much. It's still a good move. A lot of things are playable for black, is what I'm trying to say. I end up taking on g3, and after he takes back, I'm dead on winning if I play the move bishop to g4. This is the engine's recommendation. Attacking the queen, and if the queen moves somewhere, let's say here, you just hop your knight in, and white's king is very exposed, and black is just completely winning. If white tries to intercept the bishop attacking the queen with their own bishop, then the engine suggests this move rook takes, and knight d4. And this is just so good for black. The king is extremely weak. You're going to win that rook back, bring your own rook to f8, and the black's pieces are just swarming the white king side. So anyway, after f takes g3, I didn't play that. I played rook takes f1 check with the idea of going rook f8. And I blitzed this out, and I'm like, okay, the queen's going to move somewhere. I have an open file, and I'm good. But then a split second later, or at least very quickly right after, I realized that I hung material. And he finds it. He plays bishop takes h7 check, and I'm like, I had such a good position, and I just hung an exchange. I was very mad at myself for going into this, because I'm like, I knew I was better against someone 200 rating points higher than me, and I just hung a basic exchange. The point is that the bishop sacrifices itself, and after I take, he deflected my king from the rook, and he just picks up a rook. Now, the crazy part about this position is that it's actually a draw. Even though he's up 3 points to material, it's a draw. I didn't think that over the board. I thought he was winning because, hey, he's up 3 points to material, right? Yeah, but it's apparently a draw, and that's kind of a relief because, I really had nothing to worry about. I was winning, but at least he's not winning, right? So after queen takes f8, I'm trying to calm myself down over here. I can't see the eval over the board. I'm saying, like, okay, he's higher rated. It's the first game of the tournament. You're playing with the black pieces. It's going to be okay. There's 3 more games left. It's not a big deal. Just come on and focus for the remainder of the game. It's not like you're totally lost. And maybe you can make a comeback. So after queen takes f8, I play knight d4. And I'm trying to centralize my knight, attack the c-pawn. And the only move here for white, the surprising part is that white is the one that has to be careful, not me. The only move here for white is to play the move queen f2. And this is the only move to not be losing. And the point is that, let's say you try to go on the offensive with bishop d5. You're threatening to go to play queen h3, so let's say white plays a random move. You're threatening to go queen h3 with an unstoppable attack on the light squares. So the only move for white here is king h2 to defend the h3 square. And then, let's say you can play queen g4 here to try to play knight f3, and knight takes h4. So I could say they play this. You would be winning after like this sequence. So they have to play the move bishop to e3 here. And if you don't act fast, white's going to bring their rook to f1 and defend and consolidate. So the engine here just recommends to go for a draw with like this. And let's say the king goes here. Apparently this is craziness. You go knight g2 and this is a draw somehow. It's a very complicated position. But yeah, this is what the engine said. I don't think anyone would have seen this. And after knight d4, he played the move bishop to g5, which is a blunder. And I didn't think this was a horrible move. I thought, I'm like, okay, he plays bishop g5. Doesn't really do much, but like, what can I do about it? I decided to go bishop d5, and I'm actually winning because as I mentioned earlier, his light squares are super weak, and I have a light squared bishop, and he doesn't. And if I have 2 moves in a row, I'm going to go queen h3, queen g2. Knight's in a good position to go f3 or e2. And yeah, the tables have turned, as they say. So after bishop d5, this got Kabilesh thinking for a very long time. So long, in fact, that I had double the amount of time as he did. And the top moves here are totally bot moves. No one plays this. Like, who plays bishop f6? Like, this is who plays that? Like, just voluntarily giving up the material. So Kabilesh here played queen f1 with the idea of defending the h3 square so my queen can't go there. But I had another idea in mind. Queen to g4. And this is, again, the only move. So bishop d5 was the only move. And now queen g4 is the only move. I'm doing a great job finding these critical moments in the game. And queen g4 is scary because I'm threatening mate in 2 to take on g3. My knight is covering e2 and f3. My bishop is laser beaming through the white square diagonal. A lot of my pieces are controlling the white king side, which is very dangerous for white. Yeah, I was actually looking at king f2, which is the top move. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to go queen f3. He's going to go king e1. And queen takes g3. And this is going to be some sort of king hunt, I assume. He didn't go into this line, though. He played the move queen f2. And you might be thinking knight f3 check is the best move. But that lets the king escape to f1. And if you try to keep checking the king, you're actually just letting him run. And if you keep on attacking, white's just going to be safe with king to d2. And you blundered your attack. White's actually fine here. So going back, after queen f2, I played this move queen h3. I slither my queen into h3. And I'm threatening queen h1 mate, which is pretty hard to stop. So, like, if he plays queen h2 here, I have knight f3, and my knight is waiting for that to happen, and I win the queen. So my pieces are basically just swarming the king side. From being down 3 points of material, I'm still down 3 points of material. I'm somehow just on the verge of mating his king. Yeah, he played queen f1 here. Should have shown that. Queen f1. and he didn't really have much other choice here. And here I played the move queen takes g3 check, and in this position, Kabilesh resigned the game in only 25 moves, and this was stunning. This was in a good way, because I managed to beat a 2,000 player. I think he's the highest rated person I've beaten in my tournament history for me. So I'm very happy about this game, and also kind of feel bad for him because, after Rook F8, I was expecting he would. I was pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he thought he was winning, but it turns out he wasn't. But I don't know. He just succumbed to my pieces. I wasn't as I said earlier, when I played Rook F8, I wasn't trying to trick him or anything. I just thought that I just had a brain lapse and hung a material, and I'd go on to lose this game. So, moral of the story here is that even when you hang something, you shouldn't lose focus, control, because there's still hope left. As you saw in this game, I somehow managed to win this game, which is amazing. So, yeah, this is and he's the number 1 seed. Let's not forget that. So, this is this is quite an upset for him. And if we look at the accuracy, yeah, he played at 72.6. That's kind of a harsh accuracy. And I played at 90.6. Yeah, 72.6 kind of stings, but I mean, stuff happens like that. And I think that's a rather low accuracy, because it was very hard. The engine's kind of being condescending. It's like, oh, how'd you not find these only moves? But guys, you have to look at it from a human standpoint, okay? This was a very hard position to play for him, despite being up material. So, a lot of these top moves are pretty unfindable. So, I think the accuracy should be adjusted for how a human would think rather than just bot lines. So, I would have raised his accuracy maybe to 80 something, but I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you guys for watching. If you like content like this, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this game, my channel, anything like that. And yeah, I'm gonna play round 2 pretty soon. Gonna play someone who won most likely. So stay tuned for that and the next 2 recaps. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.